Well, it's finally March, so you know what that means. I'm again stalling in my top 10 of last year. Okay, in fairness, I was very ill the past few days. I wanted to do this, but I wasn't feeling up for it because I was very sick, but I'm all better now. So, yeah, I know you're all wondering like, what are you going to do by top 10? It's here. I've seen enough movies, so I'm really confident in my top 10. So without further ado, here's my ranking of my top 10 movies of 2025. And remember, this is my list, not yours. So don't go typing like, where's this? Where's this? Like, why don't you have like, I don't know, comic book movies or whatever? Why don't you have like more animated films? Like, this is my list, okay? You can put yours in the comments if you want, but this is my list. Okay, number 10 is a movie that I missed out on seeing in theaters, but I watched it when it hit Paramount Plus, and I had a lot of fun with this movie, Novocaine. Really, really enjoyed this one. It was a lot funnier than the trailer made it look. Not saying it didn't look funny, but like it didn't look like a movie that was going to be outright an action comedy. It just looked like a movie that maybe would have like some humor, but not a full kind. No, this is a very goofy film, but I mean that in the best way possible. It actually does have an interesting idea for a movie. A guy who literally can't feel pain, who has to go out and save his girlfriend. It's I mean, yeah, it's a simple idea, but the thing that makes it work is not just the comedy, but the overall conflict of a guy who can't feel pain. Like, it's like a weird thing of like how some things that really seem great really aren't. Because I actually remember, I don't know, like a few years ago, hearing about like this sad story about a kid who can't feel pain, and I was thinking, what? That sounds awesome. What's so sad about that? But then I actually found out they later revealed that the reason it's scary is because you could be in danger and not know. So yeah, that kind of makes Novocaine kind of a interesting idea when it comes to the suspense of how how Nathan is able to, do anything without feeling pain, but for all you know, he could be near death and he wouldn't even notice. I mean, like you see in the trailer, like there's that part where like the big spiky ball like hits him in the back, like because like this house is booby trapped, and he's like, "What's that?" And he's like, "Oh yeah." So like there's a lot of humor like that, and some parts it does get pretty gruesome. Like, okay, it's not the long walk, which I'll actually get to that one soon. But yeah, some parts it's some moments really aren't pleasant. It can get a little grisly sometimes, and that makes it all the more fun because it's really over the top, funny, and Jack Quaid does give a really good performance. I do like him as an actor. I really love him on The Boys, and the girl in it. I know she was in Prey, which she was really good in that one too, and it's overall just a fun movie, a neat idea for a film, and it's a fun idea on showcasing how make feeling pain is sometimes a good thing. Heck, it's for a lot of, well, okay, it's not a good thing if you're hurt, but like if you know what happens, then it's good that what you know not to do and what to avoid. So yeah, Novocaine, it was a neat idea for a movie, and it made for a really entertaining action comedy. So while I didn't get to see it when it came out, I am glad I gave it a watch. I had a fun time with it. Number nine is a movie that really, so I think it surprised everybody, and lots of people argue this is one of the funniest movies in a long time. But I don't know. Deadpool and Wolverine came out last year. That I think I laughed at this just as much as I did Deadpool and Wolverine. The Naked Gun. If you're wondering, yes, I have seen the original three Naked Gun movies, and I do like them. This, okay, I might be really reaching, but I'm not gonna lie. Maybe it's because I had low expectations. That's why I laughed so much. But this might be my favorite Naked Gun movie. Like, it's even more outlandish and crazy than the others, and I had so much fun with it. Liam Neeson really should do more comedies. I mean, I know he's been in a few like Love Actually and even some animated ones like Nut Job and Lego Movie and such, but he he really it works as a Liam. That's because I mean you could argue it's fine because haha Liam Neeson's like a serious action star and he's doing like a goofy action comedy where he plays a bumbling detective, but no, it's funny because like he's got this really dry sense of humor that really works, and he's not really over the top and he's not trying to be loud and obnoxious. Like I feel like his performance in this movie is a good sign of like sometimes small and subtle performances actually I ironically are the give you funnier results than actually being loud and obnoxious and trying so hard to be funny. His really dry, deadpan demeanor act in this movie like makes it really fun. And there's a lot of really like random visual jokes all throughout the movie. Like sometimes in the background, like something can happen in traditional Naked Gun fashion. And there's a lot of goofy slapstick and a lot of things that really just don't make sense. It's a farce. Like that's basically what it is. It's a farce. Like there's literally a moment where he's driving in the car and then like there's like bees and stuff and flying at him and then there's two guys like carrying a car windshield and it sucks on the car and he's trapped with all the balloons and the bees stinging him like it's so fast and zany and cartoony and it really captures that Naked Gun vibe without trying too hard to be the original because it's not trying to be a new classic. It just wants to be a fun Naked Gun movie and that's that's all it is. And Danny Houston surprisingly plays a really funny villain, a guy who just wants to return everyone to their primitive savage ways and make them go wild. And yes, he was great in Wonder Woman and but here he does play a really funny villain here and like he also like Liam Neeson does kind of have a more dry kind of performance where you think he's trying to take himself seriously and it really works. It's basically what you want a Naked Gun movie to be. A lot of goofy slapstick, a lot of stuff that doesn't make any sense. Nothing makes sense in this movie, but that's why you watch these movies. You just want to laugh. You don't want an action movie that's actually really smart. You just want a parody, something that makes no sense, and that's what makes it funny. So, yeah, Nate, yeah, for a new Naked Gun, they really did it. In the era where spoof movies pretty much died because of all those horrible Seltzer Friedberg movies, it was good to finally see one back. And yes, I know they're making a Scary Movie 6, so hopefully that does well. Hopefully that's actually good so we can get the spoof genre back on track. Number eight is a movie that really could not really on paper might have sounded really awful and pandering, but actually made a weirdly strong, very entertaining thriller. Drop. Yeah, usually on paper, like movies about modern day technology just don't sound good. Feels more like a "How do you do, fellow kids?" I know this isn't a kids movie, but like you know what I mean. Like, and on paper, this could have sounded really awful. A woman goes on a blind date and gets a bunch of unsolicited text messages. Like that sounds that sounds really lame. But I think when you rip the both the execution, very good acting, and really good suspense, and the fact that this is something that could happen in real life does make it a film that leaves you on the edge of your seat. Heck, I actually even felt a lot of tension myself. And it's a really good mystery. I mean, if you know me, I'm a sucker for mystery movies. So a movie that has a very simple concept of, just having a stranger text you threatening messages just sounds like ooh, what's gonna happen? Like she really needs to use her smarts to figure out who did this, and she needs to do some pretty bad stuff in order to obey with the cans because she left home and her daughter's in danger. So it's a concept that you wouldn't think work, but it's actually really effective and with some great acting, great direction, and a lot of good suspense, you get a surprisingly solid thriller. It's basically like that movie Missing, where you would think a movie about modern day technology would be like, this does not sound like it'll work. But with a lot of great acting and a really different format of film. I mean, Missing was obviously mostly on a webcam. This one is actually shot like a movie, but it's it's a really good film. If you haven't seen it, it's worth checking out. It's very interesting and it doesn't feel like a way to seem cool by showcasing technology. This could have just felt like an ad for phones, but no, it's showing the dangers of them and how technologies can sometimes be dangerous. So, yeah, I really liked Drop. I really had a fun time with this. I thought it was a really unique idea that could have been bad, but actually ended up really good. So, yeah. Number 7 is Mickey 17. I don't know if a lot of people liked it. I mean, some people are kind of divisive over this movie, which I get it. It's a black comedy, but me, I had a lot of fun with it. I thought it was a really unique idea of people getting cloned and they're called expendables, as you probably know if you've seen the movie, where you go on dangerous missions and you get reincarnated and cloned if after you die. And it's an interesting idea where there's two Robert Pattinsons, there's two clones, and one of them, of course, is evil. And Robert Pattinson's performance, I think, is what easily makes this a really fun film. Like, he delivers a lot of the comedy, and I didn't know Robert Pattinson could be quite funny because this is a black comedy. This is not a movie I think everyone will find funny, but I had myself laughing a lot of this because like one you get kind of a normal everyday Robert Pattinson, and then you get like a kind of a gnarly, nasty kind of vicious Robert Pattinson who's really psychotic like this. It's really funny, and his performance is really great. You actually kind of do believe that they're two different people. I mean, obviously that you can tell like they look alike, obviously, they're but his dual performance is really good. You almost kind of forget that he really tried to act amongst himself when nobody else is there, and that's kind of the charm of dual performances. It's sometimes hard to act amongst yourself. So, and Mark Ruffalo played a surprisingly really good villain. I don't think I've ever seen him play an antagonist before, but he was honestly really good. You actually kind of do feel bad for Mickey and uh, all the other characters who go through the cloning expendable process. Like, you don't want anyone to die, you don't want anyone to get wiped out. You actually do feel bad for him, and you they make Mark Ruffalo some character someone that you really hate, and it's really interesting. Like, it's not like you could argue it's kind of just commentary about how people who speak out against unethical experimentation, even though Mickey literally did consent to the experiment, but you know what I mean. And like, it's not very thought provoking. It's just kind of a fun, goofy science fiction movie, but it's a lot of fun. If you haven't seen it, it's really worth checking. I mean, I know I keep saying that, but trust me, it's a really good film, and I really think it deserved better. It's a shame this movie bombed because I had a lot of fun with it. Number 6 is a movie nobody cared about, which is a shame because this is my favorite one in the series, and I think as a finale, I was really satisfied with it. Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. I know nobody cared about this movie. Everyone said it was just meh, it was awful, or it was just a movie. This is my favorite Mission Impossible movie. I mean, yes, objectively, it doesn't have the best action scenes in the movie. I mean, most of it is kind of the plane scene. Like, that's literally the poster for the movie. Ethan hanging on the giant yellow plane. But it's not so much the action that makes this movie good. It's the story and the characters. Because this movie is basically a big high stakes action film about suspense about who lives and who dies. Because the whole thing is Ethan trying to stop the entity and having it stop everything from leaking out and having all the agents turn against each other. So he goes through basically anything to try and stop this because he really cares about his friends. And you see a lot of moments where he actually does try to save his friends. In fact, what happened with Luther, like, it's actually very emotional. Like, yeah, Luther, it really was a shame to see Luther go, but when you see him in his last moment with Ethan, you really do buy their chemistry. Like, even though Luther wasn't in on the action on all the movies with him, but you actually bought their friendship. So having him see his friend go, like, it's very heartbreaking. I mean, it didn't make me cry, but knowing these movies and having seen all of them, like, it was very dramatic, and that kind of goes to show that this was a movie about suspense, about who lives and who dies. And even though, granted, that's not what the movie's all about, sometimes it's just about Ethan being happy with kind of who he has and glad he has, some colleagues to watch him. Like, you have Grace, who was Haley Atwell's character, and she's really good in the movie, just as she was in Dead Reckoning. And Simon Pegg, he's obviously very charming as always. And but even without like the plain stuff, like it still has some really good action when you see Ethan try to go up through all this stuff. Like even that scene where he's almost drowning and he's underwater in that big flood. Like it's very suspenseful, and you actually feel sorry for him, and you think, "Ooh, I really hope he actually gets out of this one," because it shows Ethan's challenges with the IMF and how really bad and really dangerous his missions actually get. And thinking, you know what, maybe the IMF is really a risky job and we should, cheer on Ethan and we should actually hope he gets out of his scrapes. So, yeah, I loved Final Reckoning. I thought it was a great movie. Yeah, and if you missed your chance to see it when it came out, watch it on Paramount Plus. It's actually really worth watching. I mean, it was worth seeing on the big screen, but it's a very good movie. This was a great Mission Impossible movie to end on it, and well, sometimes you gotta save the best movie for last. So my number five is The Long Walk. This movie surprised me, and of all there, it's funny. There were two Stephen King movies that were both about competitions about survival. This and The Running Man, and yes, I did see The Running Man. I thought it was pretty good. But this movie I thought was better because of how more suspenseful it was. I mean, The Running Man, like, yeah, it was a movie about a guy who wants to pay for, you know, his kids' medical bills, trying to get money, and he's trying to escape being shot at. Like, okay, that's something. But running is not what this movie was about. It's where all these teenagers have to walk this marathon at a specific speed. They're like every now and again they're always asking the kids to walk at a specific speed, and sometimes they only get three chances to obey or else they die. So it's a really intense, really heart pounding film because a lot of these kids are very, they're basically kids. Sometimes they're very bratty teenagers. Some of them aren't really good kids. And one of the things that makes the theme of the plot of this movie good is that it's about perspectives on motivation. Like when the kids all get, because the whole thing is after they're done the walk, the kids are all granted one wish, and the main kid just wants his mom to get better. So throughout the thing, throughout the movie, you see kids saying, "Oh, I want my wish to be this." Sometimes it's more about self gain. Sometimes they're more about what they want for themselves. But you have the main kid who's just all around worried about his mom, and sometimes you really gotta think about how when it comes to a scenario like this where you can actually win something, people have different perspectives on winning. Sometimes it's for their own selfish reasons, sometimes it's reasons for themselves that make sense, and sometimes they're just trying to do the right thing. And this movie does get very brutal. This movie is very gruesome. Like if you're squeamish, I don't recommend watching this movie because I mean, it's not like over the top gore. It's not unrealistic like Mortal Kombat. No, like it's not as violent as that, but like it's more realistic. Like you see cheeks getting shot off and you see, bones breaking. Like it's definitely a very gruesome film, but that made it all the more intense because you really feel bad for these kids and what they have to go through. Although nothing is compared to the diarrhea scene. That is one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen. I even remember when I went to see the movie in theaters, I audibly went, ew, when the diarrhea scene happened because that was just due to, like, the gore I can handle. Diarrhea, just, no, I had to look away. Well, I, like, half looked away, but that was disgusting. And Mark Hamill, unsurprisingly, was great. I mean, it's no surprise he's always great at playing villains. I mean, he voiced the Flying Dutchman in the new SpongeBob movie, and we love him as the Joker. He's the best Joker, and he plays a really scary, dare I say, intimidating villain in this. And his performance is great. I mean, all the kids were great, but Mark Hamill really stands out as a very good villain. So yeah, The Long Walk. It was a very intense, very gory movie, but it was a lot of fun and it was a very good story when it comes to characters. And And as a Stephen King adaptation, I've never read the story, but maybe I'll check out the story sometime since I did really like this movie. So, because I've been getting into his work for the past few years. So, yeah, The Long Walk, really good movie. Number four is a movie I'm sure is on everybody's top 10 of the year, but who can blame everybody? It's such a good movie. Sinners. This is the best horror movie of the year. Honestly, this might be the best horror movie of the past 5 years. Like, I mean, I loved The Invisible Man, but this is probably better simply because, well, yes, it is a horror movie, and no, there isn't really, it's not essentially scary, but while traditionally scares are what make a horror movie good, it's not always about that. Sometimes it's just about the actual writing and the story and the characters, and that's what this movie is. It's focused more on the environment of how it takes place, in the 20s in Mississippi, about how two black musicians just want a juke joint. They just want enough money to have a place where black folk can hang out, or even some white folk, some other folk can hang out. And it's a really good tale about urban old African American uh, superstitions about how blues music can attract demons, and it does attract the vampires, and you do get a lot of good vampire action. I mean, this movie's kind of more about the suspense. You don't really see people killing. I mean, you do see Smoke and Stack killing vampires near the end of the movie, and it is a lot of fun. But it's also mostly just how the two brothers try to adapt to their new life as owning a place and trying to be responsible and not attracting danger, even though they do attract danger. But it's it's really fun. Even all the vampire action, even was really fun. It was very shot well. It's very there's not just a bunch of fast paced, choppy editing. No, you can see what's going on without it dragging too long. And it's like it's not super. I mean, you see people get bitten, but like it didn't need to be super gory and super intense to be an actual good vampire movie. It just needed suspense, and this movie had a lot of suspense. And while you can obviously tell they're both Michael B. Jordan, his performances both Smoke and Stack, just like Robert Pattinson and Mickey 17, are really good. I mean, sure sure they don't look and sound and act different as opposed to Mickey and Mickey 17, but they you do buy them as brothers. Like they have really good chemistry, and you actually do like them together. They're not unlikable. They don't bicker with each other as always. I mean, sure, they can have a little bit of feuds, but they're just brothers. They just want to look out for each other and what's best. And when one of them becomes a vampire, that really makes the conflict really bad. And do I need to mention Haley Steinfeld? She was amazing as always. And yeah, even at the end, where she actually gives a weirdly terrifying performance at the end when Mary becomes a vampire. I mean, I never thought Haley could actually be frightening, but she's such a great actress. She pulled it off, and I loved seeing her in a different kind of movie. She can't always play, the happy, peppy girl in everything she's in. She needs to do something different. So I'm really glad that she's growing as an actress and doing more stuff. So even though I don't think this will win Best Picture, but it is nominated for Best Picture. And well, if it wins, then I'm really glad, and I think it's a worthy win. But if not, well, at least it was a big enough hit, and lots of people loved it. So hopefully the vampire genre can come back after Twilight damaged it. So Sinners was a fantastic movie. What more can I say? I really loved it. Number three is the only animated movie on my list. I know it's no, it's not K-pop Demon Hunters. I have not seen that movie. It's a movie that was doomed to fail, and I really don't see why. I don't know why Warner Brothers thinks The Flash is the most important and best movie they've ever made, but they passed on this movie. But to be fair, it was 2D animated, so they would have poorly marketed it anyway. The day the Earth blew up. It's no surprise I love Looney Tunes. I mean, who doesn't? They're just funny. I mean, in terms of animated movies, like this isn't deep. It doesn't have a lot to say, but sometimes you just want movies that are just funny but still well written with a story. And doggone it, they made a actually really good animated Looney Tunes movie. I mean, yes, there was the Bugs Bunny Roadrunner movie and the Looney Bugs Bunny movie and Daffy Duck's Quackbusters, but this is like the first theatrical animated Looney Tunes movie that's like actually a movie, not just a compilation of shorts. And it's definitely a Looney Tunes movie. I mean, an alien an alien invasion with alien slime at a bubblegum factory causing a whole bunch of aliens to plan a whole plot with bubblegum. Like that's so dumb, but it's Looney Tunes. It makes no sense, but that's why you love it. And it was, while I do prefer, the Chuck Jones incarnation of Daffy Duck where he's more angry and hot tempered, I did like seeing a modern day Looney Tunes project where Daffy Duck is more his old school original personality where his animation isn't as stiff. He doesn't move with a more solid jaded kind of expression. Here he has that rubber hose type look. He's more wacky and zany, and I think it was a really fun way to show Daffy Duck's original personality to a new generation. I mean, I know there are those shorts on what Cartoon Network, HBO Max, whatever, called Looney Tunes cartoons, and I don't know if this movie is based on that show specifically, and I've never seen it, but I guess that's probably what this is supposed to be. Maybe those are supposed to be like the old Looney Tunes, but it's just a fun movie. And yes, the plot with the alien invasion, like the whole twist at the end did feel kind of forced. They were building up all that just for a dumb twist. Like it's kind of like the end of Chicken Little, where the whole alien invasion was a misunderstanding. Like we just want to protect the Earth, from an asteroid, not invade it. And you're like, yeah, maybe this would have worked as like a 20-minute episode of a cartoon, but for an hour and a half movie, it just felt like a waste of time. But it's very funny. Like all the slapstick is fast and really good. Like I said, I think the whole, rubber hose type animation, like with Daffy Duck and even Porky Pig has a very fluid animation. Like it does work with a lot of the slapstick because they really emphasize the pain and they really emphasize, a lot of the physical comedy. And like that whole scene where Daffy and Porky try to get jobs, that's probably the most I laughed at an animated movie in so long. It's a really funny movie. Like if you love Looney Tunes, you should have supported this movie. But if you haven't seen it, watch it. It's a really good animated film. Definitely the funniest animated movie I've seen in a long time. I did really like SpongeBob, but this was funnier and something completely new, and that's why I loved it. All right, number two is Ballerina. Another movie nobody cared to see. Why why does every movie I like nobody actually cares about? You should watch all the okay, anyway. Ballerina was awesome. I mean, I guess to be fair, I can kind of see why this movie didn't well. John Wick 4 was supposed to be the last one, although they're making a fifth one, which is unnecessary. So I think people are just phased out of John Wick, but this was a really good film. It's basically kind of like Atomic Blonde, just without the annoying motion blur. Like, I did really like Atomic Blonde. It was a very cool movie, but I admit, like, some of the action does drag a little, and yeah, lots of the motion blur with the punches, like, it just takes you out of it, even though it is very stylized and cool. This is basically Atomic Blonde if it was more fast paced and a lot more fun and sippy. Like it's a very fun film. Like all the action is very good. Like yeah, I know on paper this might seem like the dumb plot of an comedy, like oh a ballerina learns to become an assassin, but no, they play it straight, and you would think normally it's kind of like because like oh she uses dances and ballerina moves and karate kicks, but no, she trains to become an assassin. She trains how to handle a gun. She trains how to handle katanas and all that, and because she's trained by the Ruska Roma, as you probably seen in the trailers. And it was nice seeing Angelica Houston even come back because she was in the third John Wick. So it was it was nice to see lots of the Ruska Roma people actually come back, and it actually does incorporate itself into John Wick 3 because John Wick does appear in it. I know everyone hates it because, oh, it's a woke feminist movie. This should have been a John Wick movie. John Wick has four movies. One movie about a girl isn't going to hurt you. And yeah, and even a lot of the action scenes, like it has a lot of stuff that you would think would sound ridiculous. Like she hacks someone with an ice skate, which is actually kind of typical John Wick fashion. Because like remember the famous pencil scene in the second movie, and and the bar fight in Russia. Like there's a lot of really cool, very well choreographed moments in this movie. It's really cool. Anna de Armas really plays a very good action hero. I think she's really believe. I know some people won't believe her because she's a short, petite girl, but they don't dwell on it too much. They don't like. I would have been annoyed if a lot of the stories like, oh, such a short, tiny ballerina girl can't do all this, but she can. And I buy it because she sells it very well, and you actually do feel bad for her because early on in the movie, when it shows her dad being killed by all those assassins that break into their home, like you feel sad for her, and you want her to avenge her father. You want her to prove herself worthy of being an assassin, and it's a really cool movie. It's super awesome, and Florence Pugh said Thunderbolts is a badass A24 film. No, Thunderbolts is not badass. I didn't even bother with that movie. That's not even a Thunderbolts movie. That's just Guardians of the Galaxy with Black Widow characters. No, that flamethrower scene is more badass than anything in the MCU. Literally anything. Even Daredevil. Like this, I don't know what else to say. This is was such a cool movie. I absolutely loved it. And if you love John Wick, it's really worth checking out if you just want to watch a movie for the weekend. So yeah, I absolutely loved Ballerina. I mean, it's a stylized action movie with Anna de Armas. That seems like my kind of movie, and I really had a fun time with it. All right, I know I usually dwell on saying, gee, I wonder what. No, I'm just going to say number one is Avatar Fire and Ash. James Cameron, you knocked it out of the park again. I mean, granted, I do think this is the weakest Avatar movie, but considering that this is my favorite movie of the year, despite it being the weakest of the trilogy, that goes to show how great these Avatar movies are. I mean, when I say trilogy, I mean like there's three so far, but this was a really good film. Yes, it is kind of derivative of Avatar: The Way of Water because it's about protecting family and their environment, but aside from that, it's a very good film about showing the different cases of the relationship between human and Navi, showing that even similar people are not one-sided because the Ash people led by Varang are just ruthless aggressive people, and they try to team up with Quaritch, and who's actually a Navi this time, and it's interesting showing that just because they all look the same, that doesn't mean they're actually the same and trustworthy because Quaritch is still a really good villain by showing all the things he does. Like he manipulates Jake's son. Like he's not just an angry human saying, "Oh, I'm gonna take over Pandora. I'm gonna do everything." No, he actually is very manipulative and clever, trying to get Jake's son on his side. And even his relationship of trying to capture Spider and trying to use him as a minion. And you're like, yeah, he's a terrible guy. Like, I mean, yeah, it would. I guess you could argue it is kind of. He would be kind of already a scary villain if he just had a thing against all Navi and all Navi allies. But on the other hand, being manipulative and using people for his own gain and trying to go against everyone, that does kind of make him a really good villain. That he's not just he can actually think and plan it out. He's not really a villain who's just like, oh, I'm just gonna destroy everything that's remotely related to the people I'm trying to destroy. No, he's manipulative, clever, and tries to invade Pandora and try to destroy it all, even if it means, using something that he doesn't really want, that he's against. So, and that volcano eruption scene with the where all the ash people fled, that alone made the experience great. I mean, the movie was great on its own. Like the plot was very good about the relationship between the humans, the Na'vi, and just the flat out environment of Pandora. And Varang was a really cool villain, very ruthless and very aggressive. And all the Ash people just seemed like terrible people. I mean, the fact that they're all blue cat people, it kind of things did make them seem a little, threatening. But it's just a flat out great movie. Like, even if a lot of the family aspects and even some of the environment stuff is a little derivative of the others, like, it's still different in the way of the relationship between the human and the Navi. Like, even the whale scene, despite it being something out of the second one, it's still really cool. Because even if we've seen it before, it doesn't mean we can't ever explore it again. Because that's the fun about world building. With a big franchise like Avatar, sure, there's new places you can go, but there's also some really cool places you can go back to. And I really love exploring the world of Pandora. Hopefully, we get more of all this in the next movie. I mean, yes, I do hope we get a new plot and a new area of Pandora, but I also really want to go back to, what happens to Jake, to the Sully family, and what happens, in all the jungles, and even some of the whales would be cool to see too. So, yeah, Avatar Fire and Ash, fantastic movie. I know this is the first Avatar movie to not be nominated for Best Pictures. It only got I think it only got an effects nomination at the Oscars, which it is well deserved. But hey, it was a success, unsurprisingly, because people love these Avatar movies, and I'm really excited to see where the fourth one leads. Hopefully, it's something a little new while still having a lot of things that makes Avatar great. So, yeah, Avatar Fire and Ash, super great movie, and it was a very great experience, especially seeing it in IMAX 3D. So, I really liked it. It's my favorite movie of 2025, so that does it. So yeah, I know it's late, but that was my top 10 of 2025. So if you disagree, like I said, that's totally fine. Leave yours down below if you disagree or have different choices. So yeah, that's my top 10 of 2025. So see ya in my next video, everybody.